Welcome to Behind the Lines, coming to you from the socialist, Marxist lines of Washington State. It's a crazy liberal petri dish for the rest of the country, folks. Stay up to date with all the great news right here. So there's a new bill making its way through Congress. It's a firearms bill that would require you to take a psychological test, get liability insurance, register your guns, and more. This bill is sponsored by a Democrat out of Texas named Sheila Jackson Lee, one of the most radical members of Congress. It's H.R. 127. And this law, if passed, would establish licensing of firearms and ammunition, as well as registration of firearms. And this would require the owner of a firearm to transmit to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives the make, model, and serial number of the firearm, the identity of the owner of the firearm, the date the firearm was acquired by the owner, and where the firearm is or will be stored, and a notice specifying the identity of any person to whom in any period of time during which the firearm will be loaned to another person. This information will be required within 3 months of the effective date of the bill for firearms, including ones already owned by that date, so there would be no grandfather clause. And then, of course, any weapon purchased after the bill goes into effect. The law will direct the Attorney General to establish and maintain a database of all firearms registered pursuant to the subsection. And here's the great part about that. The contents of the database will be accessible to all members of the public. All federal, state, and local law enforcement authorities, all branches of the United States Armed Forces, and all state and local governments as defined by the Bureau. So everything about every gun you have and where you store it and how you store it in your house will be made to the public, including your address and name, all that stuff. Sounds like a great plan. The other thing is about this is you're going to be required to take a psychological exam to own a firearm. And I've taken psychological exams for previous employment that I've had in the past with law enforcement and the fire department. And I mean, the tests aren't a huge deal, but they are subject sort of to the will of whoever is interviewing you, so to say. So if you're having a bad day or that particular psychiatrist doesn't agree with firearms, then chances are that's going to go bad for you. And the other part of this is having to get insurance. Presently, I don't believe there's any private insurance companies that will offer policies to cover, shootings if you had to shoot somebody in self-defense, or if somebody stole a weapon from your house and used it in the commission of a crime. So, I mean, there may be policies out there, but they would be extremely expensive and hard to come by. And so the insurance thing would be very difficult. But hey, Uncle Sam has got you covered on this one. They're going to offer insurance through the Attorney General's office. It's just a mere $800 a year to get liability insurance through them. And I'm sure, they're going to give it to everybody who wants it too. There won't be any issues with getting denied for whatever reason they decide. They're also going to require completing a training course certified by the Attorney General in the use, safety, and storage of firearms that would also include 24 hours of training. And who knows how much that's going to cost. And who knows with all of these things, since the government will be running these classes and psychological exams and getting the insurance, you can only imagine how long the waiting lists will be to get these things taken care of. It's just, it would not be feasible. This is going to force a lot of people out of ownership. So, this is basically any lower income Americans are not going to be able to afford to own a firearm legally. And, based on their equity and everything else that they're touting lately, it's going to unfairly target people of color because they tend to be in the more lower income categories, which means this is sort of a racist law, is it not? So this is a scary law, and I think we need to be contacting our representatives and letting them know that this is not okay, this is not acceptable, and we're not going to tolerate it. And unfortunately, with Democrats having full control, I think it could be easy for them to push this through. And the only recourse we're going to have at that point is with the Supreme Court, and we're just going to have to hope that the Supreme Court is going to see that this is a clear infringement on our Second Amendment. But in the meantime, what you can do is contact your representatives and let them know that, like I said, it's not okay, you don't agree with this, it's a violation of your rights, and we need to push back. So again, this is H.R. 127 that would put these limits on your Second Amendment. So I suggest you start reaching out, making phone calls or emails to your representative folks, because it's only the third week and they're already trying to pass these big anti-gun bills and everything else that's going on. So we gotta push back in a reasonable and professional way. So do what you can. We don't want to lose our gun rights. All right, folks, I hope you have a great day and be safe out there.